I guess we call it in English funnel, a funnel, okay? And this funnel will explain a lot of things to us. So whenever you're in your kitchen, think about two things. Think about life and think about Islam, okay? All right? Okay. So let's start explaining, okay? This little friend of us will stay here close to us, okay? So I will show it later too. You have to imagine to how life is. You need to imagine this way, okay? The funnel, okay? I try to draw it as nice as I can, but it looks like it's not getting very nice, but it's getting at least similar, okay? A funnel looks like this, okay? So what is so special about the funnel, which explains the whole reality of life for us, okay? The funnel, the topper part of the funnel is white and gets narrow, yeah? And then you have this part, the upper part, which is this, yeah? And you have the lower part, which is this, okay? Exactly, here. From here to here, and from here to here. And then what's after that? And then you have this part, okay? These three parts, which I'm going to use to explain things in Islam. What happens is in life, we are born here, which is in this area of the funnel in life, okay? If you see the whole life as a funnel, we are born here. So what happens when we grow, the circle, yeah, the circle becomes smaller, okay? It becomes smaller and smaller. And if you look at the circles, they're becoming smaller, okay? So what happens is, it's like, let's say you put some water here, and the water goes around, and you're sitting on the edge, and you're born on the edge, okay? And the water is pulled down here. So what happens is it's going in a circle, and then going and becoming smaller circles, yeah? So in life, we're born here. And the older we get, the smaller the circle gets, okay? So this is the reality of life, okay? Just think about that, okay? The older we get, okay? Let's make here older. Sorry, older. Okay, my writing. Older. The older, yeah, the older you get, the smaller it gets. So the older you get, the smaller the circle. Do you believe that? That's a fact of life, huh? Interesting. Okay, when you're born at the edge, okay? And the older you get, the more time passes, yeah? The more time passes, the smaller the circle gets, okay? Until you get in this area, which let me just make it red, okay? You get in this area. When you get in this area, what happens is you die, okay? You die, okay? The person dies, okay? He has life, okay? And you die. I'm trying to explain to you from the Islamic perspective, okay? It's mixed with some philosophy, whatever you call it, some wisdom. And from the time that your person dies, till the time that he goes to the next world. There's a kind of break room, and it's a room where you wait. Okay, they call it in Islam, they call it barzakh. Barzakh. Okay, call it barzakh. I call it here. Okay. الحياة هنا الزخ. Okay, so and you will come in another kind of life, and but actually you're going from the one stage of life to the next stage of life and to the next stage of life. Okay, so basically death is that you are moving from this life to the barzakh life. Okay, to the grave life. They call it grave life. Okay, so we move from this life to the grave life. Okay, and that's this part here, my funnel, from birth, getting old, getting shorter, smaller, then here you die, and then you are in this grave life. Okay, in this part of funnel. If you look from here, you'll be in that part of funnel here. From here till where the light is, you see? That's what's happening. So you have this life. And the Prophet Muhammad tells us that in this life there will be also kind of punishments and good things, and some people, and deaf people, they communicate with each other, and etc., etc. So after this finishes, this grave life basically finishes when all people in the world dies, when they all die, and humanity everybody's dead. Then they will be brought back to life in this part of the next stage of life. Okay, which is this here. So I explain it again. The birth is here. You get older, older, older. In here, you die. Then you have the grave life. And from here, you go out in infinity in all directions. Okay? So what happens here, you're living in a stage where they call it Day of Judgment. Day of Judgment. Okay? This one is called Day of Judgment. Okay? This area. It's called Day of Judgment. And the Day of Judgment, you can imagine people in this world kill many masses, do really bad things, and do crimes, and the police never catch them, and the politicians never punish them. And even if they get punished, they don't get enough punishment. So what happens to them, actually? Or people lost their rights. They never get their rights back. So who's going to give them their rights back? It's God. It's Allah. It's the Creator who gives them back. And that right, they get it on this day. And that's what Islam, we call it Day of Judgment. Okay? The Day of Judgment. Yawm al-Hisab. Okay? Day of Judgment. Roz al-Qiyamat. Okay? Yeah. Tag des Gerichtes. Okay? In German. So, what happens here? The Day of Judgment. After the Day of Judgment, what happens is the infinity thing starts. So, we have actually in the world, in this world, we have plus, minus, 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 and we have plus, So, okay, is mixed in our life. Okay, negative and positive is mixed in our life in this world. Yeah. So what happens is when you go through this, yeah, and the negative and positive starts separating. Okay, and it goes to infinity. Okay, ever ending. So what happens when it goes this way? Okay, so what happens is after the day of judgment there will be decisions. Okay, they get their rights back, and those others, they get their punishments. So they will be selected. You go here, 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 you go here. So from these people who are selected, one part of the people who are getting punished here, one part of people, they move here. Okay, from hell, after they get some punishments, they go to paradise. Okay, they go here, and the rest, the worst ones, will stay forever. Okay, and these people, some of them, they go for 1 million years in the hell. Some go for one day, and some go for 1 second. I don't know how long they're gonna stay. So it's a different timing, different dimensions. So we cannot imagine that. Okay, so 1 second of this is the worst thing that you ever have experienced. Pain in whatever you have. Yeah. So basically, don't even think about 1 second of staying here. Okay, so do whatever you can do to go on this side. Okay, so do good deeds. Yeah, and believe and do good deeds. Okay. So what happens is this is what is going to happen. Okay. So now what is important, the next stage, the next thing I want to explain is, I just draw the funnel again. It looks like I'm getting better in the drawing now. So, born. Okay, we're born. Die. End of grave. Life. Then we have day of judgment. And or eternal life. Okay, so what happens with now, I want to draw your attention what is happening with Muslims. Okay, I'm just telling everything from Islamic perspective, and what is happening with non-believers, those who do not believe at God at all, at this whole thing at all, and those who have weak belief or weak faith. Okay, they could also be Muslims. Yeah, it could be anybody. Anyway, what happens is that the parents of the person, let me just put the light here. The parents of the person, when the kids are born, they try to draw their attention in this direction. Okay? They try to draw their attention in that direction, away from here. Okay? Away from here. So, what happens is they have parties, birthday parties. Oh, we have to celebrate. Oh, he's now 2 years old. Oh, 5 years old, 10 years old. Oh, but actually, it doesn't mean. It only means that his circle is getting shorter. It is not getting wider, but we're lying to our kids. We're trying to show them that their circle is getting wider. Yeah, but it is not getting wider. It is getting shorter. So basically, the whole birthday thing is just something that we don't need to celebrate. It's something crazy. It's a training. They're training the kids. We're training our children to look away from death. Okay, to look away from death. So born, birthday, birthday. I mean, some parents they just remember the birth of their child, so they make the birthday party and they enjoy it, and because they love their kids. That's a different story. Okay, I'm not going against that one, but I'm trying to see how the person, a human being, starts learning in a very early age to see every new year coming as something enjoyable, fun, and so. And that makes him or her go away from reality. Yeah, to stay away from reality. Yeah, it helps you getting away from reality. So what happens is when you have this kind of view, yeah, this kind of view and learn it, yeah, in your life and keep on practicing, then the older you get, the more fear you have. Yeah, here's the fear. The more fear you have, because you think you wake up one day and you're just like thinking, oh, I'm getting old, and the circle is getting shorter and smaller, and what's happening? What's happening? So what you do is you try to avoid them, yeah, and you try to stay away from it, and you need then something I call them distractions, yeah, distractions. So then we need distractions, yeah, away from death, away from death. And some distractions are like alcohol, drugs, parties, yeah, joy and fun and power and position and money, wealth, yeah, wealth, consume, waste, yeah, waste of time, waste of whatever, yeah, killing time, do this, games, etc. I mean, the list is very long. Okay, so what happens that when you learn how to excuse me, when you learn how to look away from reality, which death is a reality, okay, then what happens is you are scared of death, so you try to distract yourself. Yeah, you have a distraction, and then you use all these tools which distracts you away from reality. And then what happens that in the back of your mind, yeah, there's something terrible happening. Yeah, death, fear, motivations. Okay, what happens in the back of your mind, death is always there. You know that you're going to die, because in the moment a person is born, nothing in life is guaranteed except death is guaranteed. So you know that. You start learning it. When you grow up, you know it. Okay? The children, they don't know it because they're innocent. But as soon as they start knowing things, they know death is something terrible. So then you have fear. And the fear is a motivation for many things. Motivation to become depressive, motivation to become very active, try to run away, run away, run away, run away. Yeah. So what happens if a lion comes and attacks you? You have two possibilities: to run away, yeah, or to just give up and be depressive and just lay down, yeah, and let them eat you. Okay. So this is what is happening to the people. Okay. So you have death in the back of your mind. You know that the person is dying, and you have fear because death is actually the place where fear is coming from is death. Yeah, death is the center of fear. Okay, so in a lot of psychology, they talk about fear, 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 but they don't talk about death. Yeah, because even the scientists are scared of death maybe, so they don't talk because death is basically the solution. How to deal with death is the solution to get rid of fear. Yeah, but they talk about fear and try to give you some therapies, but the fear comes back, comes back, comes back. So what happens? All they have to do. Islam brings you a very good solution. Islam teaches you how to deal with death, and when you know how to deal with death, you have no fear anymore. Yeah, you have no fear, and that's why Islam is a solution for all your problems. So what happens? What shows Islam? Islam, when you're born, we teach our children in a very early age to look this way. Yeah, to see the reality, to look the reality in their eyes. Yeah. So the Prophet Muhammad said, remember death. You should learn to remember death. Then death is coming. Yeah. So if you know your enemy, you can deal with the enemy. You can run away, you can hide, you can fight, whatever you do. If you don't know your enemy, you are scared. You're scared. And the enemy will follow you. Even if your enemy is a small ant. Yeah. And you have a big fear. Do you know people? Some people are scared of a little tiny spider, and they start screaming like you think there's a lion coming eating them, and jumping. And some ladies are scared of some mouse or something, yeah, or some men are scared of some also spider or whatever. So the fear is big, even if the thing is small. So what Islam does, it opens your eyes to reality, because we need to be realistic. What those people who do not practice Islam or do not believe in Islam, what they do is trying to make you run away from death, from reality. Computer games and movies and music and alcohol and drugs and parties and joy and fun and power and consume and position and money and wealth and games and all these sports and this and that, and they keep you away, keep you away, keep you away. Come on, get it. Look that way. Look this way. And this is what happens, that in your life you keep on going with your fantasy, going up, yeah. Fantasy. You're going with your fantasy, going up, yeah. I think you're right this way. Anyway. And the reality is here. And when you're going up, you're raising up. Oh. Did you ever have the experience? You go to the football game, you go to the baseball game, you go to the basketball game, you go to any games, and your team is playing, and it's very excitement, and your team loses, yeah, and you're thinking it's gonna win. Oh, and then loses. So you have a shock here. So what happened? You fall down. And you get hurt, yeah. So what happens? Because your fantasy made you to go up and go away from reality. But the reality was, wait a second, the other team, their people are also screaming. They're also hoping they're going to win. So you will not be the only person. So how come you think you are the winner? So anything else in life is the same rule, yeah. the more your fantasy starts going up, the more you're away from reality, and the more you're away from reality, and then you get a shock, something happens, you fall deep and get hurt. So move on the ground of reality, and you never get hurt. That's what Islam does. The whole the Quran is based on reality. It's history, it's rules, it's about future, it's about present, it's about past. It's about how to deal with death, with life, yeah, and teaches you. The whole hadith of Prophet Muhammad, it's all from reality. Nothing is some stories that were just found. It's reality 100%. So what Islam teaches you to walk on the ground of reality, yeah, not starting fantasy, going fantasy. And when you do that, and the main thing is death, you have to believe that there's life and there's death. And you have to, that's not enough, because most of people, they know that, yeah. But what gives you hope? There is a life after death, okay? Life after death. That means life, 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 life. So you're transferring from one life to the next life, to the next life, and before that, from the other life to this life, yeah. And then from this life, you go to the barzakh life, which is actually the grave life. And from the grave life, you transfer to the infinity life, to the next life. And before that, when you create it, yeah, you're brought on this earth to do life. And what we do from the birth, from this time, till death, all our deeds, yeah, we are tested. How do we behave? Okay. It's all about behavior, belief and behavior. From here to here. Belief and behavior. Very important. Belief and behavior. It's important. How you believe and what you do with your belief. How do you deal with a person? How do you deal with the believer and a non-believer? It doesn't mean non-believer just kill them and fight them. No. You have to be good to everyone, to believer, to non-believer, to animals, to creation, to the whole nature and everything. Have respect. Yeah. And your belief is a relation to your creator who created life, and he is the origin of life. Okay? So he created that, and he gave you this life. He gave you this time to do righteous, to do good, to decide for yourself and do good. And he gives all the tools and their prophets and their books, God's books, and their your parents and your the values that you learn from human being, from the nature, from where you live in, and all these tools, you use them to live according to the rules that God gave it to us. Okay, so this is life, okay. And then we have the barzakh life. In this life, it's like a waiting period where you wait till everybody dies, and then you go to the next stage. Okay, so in this life, people get punished in the grave. If they would have been bad people here, doing a lot of crazy stuff, and they get punishment. Yeah, and then we don't know how long we're staying in the grave life. It could be thousands of years. Yeah, and if you're a good person and you're a believer in the creator of the whole thing, everything, God, which is God, and you worship him, and you do righteous, you do good things, and avoid bad things, and avoid evil activities, yeah, as much as you can, and you have knowledge about something and still do it, then you will be held responsible. If you have no knowledge, you will not be held responsible, because Islam Islamic rule says if a person has no knowledge about something, he will not be held responsible. Only you have knowledge about it, and then do as much as you can. You will not be held responsible for everything. So even if you have knowledge about many things, you don't have to be able to do everything. But if it's too much for you, just do as much as you can. So these are the rules that Islam tells you. So life is, we are born not here just to have fun, yeah, just to enjoy life. You can enjoy life. That's not, Islam has nothing against it, but it's not the main target. That it's not the main philosophy of life to come on this earth, enjoy, have fun, discos and alcohol and ladies and boys and girls, and then parties and music and so on, so movies, and then die, and that's it. Yeah, and then you become a big person. Oh, he was a big singer. Oh, he was so. Those people are nothing, worth nothing, and day of judgment. They're worth nothing. The politicians, some politicians were big politicians. They have bodyguards going around. Oh, he's so and so. And the day of judgment, they're all tiny, small, scary people. Yeah, because they kind of destroyed their life. Yeah, and by believing in things that's not reality. It's not right. Yeah, and killing so many people, doing such weird things in life. So this is, in short, explaining we should, Islam teaches you to be realistic and look in the direction where you're heading to. Don't walk backwards, because when you go backwards, you have always fear. And if you have fear, you don't know if you're following in a hole or you're going to bump on something, yeah, or some wild animal is waiting for you and eating you. So you're scared, you have fear. Yeah, that's why a Muslim who practices Islam and understands Islam hardly gets any depression. They don't have alcohol problems. They don't have drug problems. I'm talking about those who believe and do righteous, when they take their religion serious. They don't need parties. They don't need too much joy. They enjoy even small things. And they have fun. It's fun for them just to look at their kids, or they go outside in beautiful birds and nice weather or whatever. Yeah. And they don't run for power so much. If they don't get it, it's okay. But they're not crazy about it, to get the power and destroy people. And if they lose their position, they don't worry about it. If their money is gone, they had billions, and then they're just one day gone, they say, Alhamdulillah, thank God. I can start from zero again. God gave it to me, and He took it back. Yeah. They don't get crazy about consume. If they lose their consume, then they just don't worry. Yeah. And they don't waste things. Yeah. And if you see a Muslim wasting things, then you know he's not a strong Muslim. He's a weak Muslim, or he has no knowledge about his faith. Yeah. And they don't go about behind games. Yeah. A football game. If you look at non-Muslims, they're more crazy about games than if it's a computer game or it's sports or anything. They're more crazy about it than the Muslims. Even the Muslims who do it, most of them are not aware of their faith, actually. Yeah. So they don't give a damn about it. So let's say it this way. Yeah. So this is Islam. So if you want to live a life where you have no fear, and you don't need to distract yourself from things, and you live in the reality, and then see the reality in its eye, yeah, and be more calm, and you have answer for thousands of your questions that we have in our mind, and then it's the right way. It's the right road. It's based on reality. So why do we have to go against religions which we don't know about it? Why should we not just wake up and say, okay, it's like when you're on the market and everybody has a cell phone. and everybody says, here I have this cell phone, and the other guy says, this is my cell phone, buy this one, buy that one. Okay, check, check all these, compare them and see, and choose the one who is realistic, who is good for you, who is the right one, which fits you, your nature. Yeah, and Islamic rules are always moving parallel to logic, and parallel to nature, and parallel to physics. That's why you can take a funnel like this, yeah, and you can show in a funnel like this the Islamic philosophy of life. It's as easy as this. And that's it. It's easy, that easy. So I would suggest everyone to be more wise and just leave hate. If you have hate, maybe your parents, when you're smaller, younger, they planted hate in you. And they said Muslims are so, Islam are so. Or maybe the media, maybe you read a book, maybe you met a bad Muslim, maybe you met someone who hates Islam. So they told you things about Islam. Just open your heart and open your mind for reality, for truth. And if you look for truth, you will find it. And Islam is based on logic and science and logic. Science cannot prove everything, but logic can understand things. So Islam is based on these things. Islam supports knowledge. Even 1,400 years ago, Islam supported knowledge, and it supports till today, and will ever, always. Because the faith is based on knowledge and on reality. So in reality, you have the laws of physics and laws of nature, and everything is going parallel to Islam, and it's not going against each other. Yeah, and just a simple example is this one. Yeah, which I showed you just now, and try to be realistic, and don't try to run away from reality. Because the worst thing you can do in your life to run away from reality. If you run away from reality and you're in a fantasy world, and don't go watch too much movies, because too much movies affects and it has an effect on you and takes you to the fantasy world. Yeah. And then when something happens, a person dies in your family, you get a shock and you fall down. And then from here you start thinking, what am I doing here? Am I going to die? Why am I living? Where am I going? Where did I come from? Is there any God? Is there any life after death? And etc. So educate yourself and go. If you have the possibility, just read the Quran. Take a good translation. Yeah, Yusuf Ali translation is a good translation. If you do not understand, try to find an educated Muslim who knows his religion very good. Yeah. And try to contact an Islamic center or many different centers and try to get your information. And about any religion, go and check them all. And you will see when you come back, when you go through all the religions, Christianity, Judaism, Mormons, and Buddhists, and Hindus, and everything, you will come back, and when you hit to Islam, you understand things clear. It's very easy to understand because it's based on logic. So everything which is based on logic, your mind opens and sees it. Just open your eyes and your heart and your mind and see it like I explained, try to explain it to you, and see this and just think about it, yeah, and get your information. And the best way is to read Quran translations and Hadith, which is the saying of the Prophet Muhammad. Yeah, these two Two things are very important, and try to judge yourself. And there's some verses of Quran which you might misunderstand, because the verses, they have historic backgrounds. You need to know the history. If it talks about wars, it doesn't mean that it's every Muslim can attack anyone, but it's just a historic fact, which and there's something happened, then the verse came about it. So every verse has an history. So the history is one thing important to know, and the rules are other things, how to deal with the rules. So if it says kill them all, and when they wherever you see them, there's a verse talks about war, then it doesn't mean that the Muslims are going out to their neighbors, anyone who's infidel, non-believer, just go kill them. No, here it talks about those who attack you and try to kill you with weapons. You can defend yourself, yeah, no matter where you see them, because they thought if they attack us in our city, then we can attack them back. But this verse tells them, if you see them even in the desert and coming to you, then you can also fight them back. Yeah. So there are some rules in Quran, which when you read Quran you might not understand. You think, oh, what is this? What is this? But those verses, they have a history, and something happened, and then the verse came, revelation came from God to the Prophet Muhammad, telling about that situation, or talking about the situation, or telling how to deal with the situation. Yeah. And some verses come to change the rules, which are already in some other verses, and these kind of rules. Okay, that's in short. So this was a few things which I myself try to explain to you, and how Islam deals with reality and facts of life, and I hope I could explain some things from Islamic point of view, and I hope you could learn something out of it. And thank you very much for your attention, and all the best for everyone. Thank you. It's Farhat. Yeah, thank you.